Amagi is what you would call as a media tech SaaS company. We work with, think of us as a connector in the connected TV ecosystem. We work with content owners. Think of content owners like a Lionsgate or a Tastemade or a traditional TV network like a Vice Media or a Bein Sports. We work with them to help create 24/7 linear channels that we then take and distribute onto these fast platforms like Plutos and the Zoomos and the LGs and the Samsungs of the world, and then monetize it through dynamic ad insertion. So essentially, we work with content owners on one side, platforms or aggregator apps on the other hand, and advertisers on the third side, bringing them all together to connect all of these different pieces for the end consumers. So we are the largest distributor of content within the FAST space, work with 50 plus platforms globally on the FAST side. Pretty much all the major FAST platforms like Samsungs and the Rokus and the Vizios and the Zoomos and the Plutos of the world, as well as work with some of the premium content owners, whether it's lifestyle, movies, sports, news, local broadcasters, traditional television networks, kids, documentary, and so on. Help them, deliver their content onto these FAST platforms. Then we work with pretty much all the major SSPs and DSPs to bring advertising, programmatic and directly sold advertising into these FAST platforms by doing dynamic server-side ad insertion.
Could you explain just what FAST means and sort of why that's the underpinning of your business?
Absolutely. A FAST is what you would call as free ad-supported streaming TV. Essentially, these are aggregators or apps on connected TV that bring together free content for viewers and are completely monetized through advertising. Examples of FAST platforms include apps like Pluto TV, Zumo TV, the Roku channel, or native apps on devices like Samsung. It's called the Samsung TV Plus platform, or a Vizio Watch Free, or the Roku channel, for instance.
So tell us how that's going in terms of FAST through this sort of acceleration to CTV, through the pandemic, through consumer changes. What's been going on? How to sort of the state of FAST for the industry?
Fastest, with pun unintended, is the fastest growing connected TV category today. Given the subscription fatigue to some extent, given the number of subscription services with the large ones taking bulk of the share, we are starting to see substantial growth coming in from these free platforms where viewers, after spending a few hours or 30 minutes or an hour on the Netflixes and the Disney Pluses of the world, then look for additional content, either content that is not available on these platforms because they want something niche, specific, or they're looking for much more variety. So they would come to these AVOD or FAST platforms. The benefit of a FAST platform is that it is delivered in a traditional TV format. Unlike, FAST is a sub-segment of AVOD, but unlike AVOD where you watch any content on demand, FAST is provided like a cable dial where you can actually see an EPG and all the channels are available in a pre-curated linear 24/7 format. So you just flip through channels, you open the app, you see a bunch of channels, very much like you do on your cable. You just flip through channels and watch them. So one thing that has actually happened through the pandemic over the year and a half is obviously, dramatic increase in OTT viewership has happened, but also significant increase in these FAST platforms have happened. One, people trying to save money, without adding subscriptions. And two, because of the large shift in advertising happening from traditional TV into these FAST platforms, we are starting to see more and more premium content coming into these FAST platforms. In fact, now a number of these platforms are creating originals, well-produced premium content specifically for these FAST platforms.
What about advertising and the buy side and the changes in formats? I know you work with Triple Lift. They're doing some innovative work around advertising. What's what's the approach of your company to supporting more interactive advertising or bespoke advertising or branded content that's beyond the 15 and 30?
An excellent question, Andy. We think that beyond a certain ad load, there is going to be tremendous ad fatigue, right? You cannot overload. The days of 10 to 15 minutes of advertising is over on a per hour basis, right? So the new millennial Gen Z viewers cannot sustain more than 5 or 10 minutes of attention span. So you're going to have much less advertising time on a per hour basis, or much lower ad load on a per hour basis. So you need to have interesting interactive video ad formats if you want to be able to monetize the content on these fast platforms. We see companies like Triple bringing in some really innovative formats, non-linear video ad formats, which could include overlays, picture-in-picture advertising, L-bands, or in-content advertising. That I think is going to be the future of how advertising is going to grow beyond the traditional 15 or 30-second format. And that's kind of balances the need for not having to interrupt the viewers in their viewing while monetizing the content much better.
And finally, what is the sort of the look or feel of the consumer experience change in let's say 5 years? And how does FAST play a part of that?
5 years is a really long time in the ad tech and the television industry, given the amount of changes that we are seeing. I wouldn't profess to have a crystal ball to say what will happen in 5 years, but certainly there are some big trends that are happening, right? One, given the $250 billion in television advertising shifting from traditional TV into these OTT and FAST platforms, you're going to see substantial ad dollars chasing the viewers and in the on the OTT side. So that would mean either increasing a lot more ad load, which is just not practical, as we talked about. Given the millennial and Gen Z audience, nobody just has the patience for a 10-minute of advertising, sitting through 10 minutes of advertising on a per hour basis. So you're going to have much more integrated ad formats, your native advertising on connected TV, if you will, that will kind of blend both content and advertising in a seamless fashion that will actually deliver some of the messaging in a fairly seamless fashion. You're going to see a lot more of that. You're also going to see some really interesting ad formats. We saw NBC, for instance, recently releasing some interactive and interesting ad formats, including shoppable ad formats and such. So you're going to see a lot more innovation on how brands are presenting themselves, whether it's branded content, whether it's native advertising, whether it's video overlays, interactive advertising. Some of these are really here to stay and grow.